One thing I've noticed while joining the IWC is that people don't have just one how I got into wrestling story. There's usually also a how I got back into wrestling story. And I figured what better way to help y'all get to know me better than to tell you my story. I realized that I kind of just jumped right into this and just started telling you about what was going on currently within the WWE, but y'all have no idea who I really am. So I wrote some notes. So if you see me glancing over here, it's because there's my MacBook. But I am also blind. I wear glasses, but I can't do it when recording. I promise I'll have a better setup when I move in the next month. But either way, my notes are right here on my MacBook. So I'm gonna tell you guys my how I got into wrestling story, some of my wrestling goats, my current faves, just like random things about me that you may want to know to help you get to know me more. If you didn't notice, hi, my name is Clarissa. I'm a 33-year-old wrestling fan, and I have watched wrestling my entire life. Like truly, so for those who don't know, hi, my name is Clarissa. I am a 33-year-old WWE fan, and yes, there's a reason why I specified WWE. I would like to say that I'm a wrestling fan, and while I do enjoy things that I see happening in other promotions, I tend to not watch them. Not because I don't enjoy the promotion, not because I'm against anything or I'm a tribalist. I don't have time. like I I have the memory of whatever animal it is has a very short memory. I will forget so quickly. And it's like 45 minutes to an hour in, and I'm like, oh, wait, TNA was on tonight. Like, it's to the point that in our Discord, because we do have a Film Slam Discord, the people in the Discord will message me and say, hey, the Hardys are on, so that I can remember to come in to see the Hardys. So thank y'all for that. But to get straight into the story, I have been watching WWE back when it was WWF my entire life for the most part, outside of like the times where I took breaks. And it wasn't because of wrestling itself, it was just like things would go on, I would forget to watch, and then I wouldn't watch anything but like just the PLEs or something once we had WWE Network and then Peacock. But as a kid, my whole family, for the most part, was very into wrestling. We were a wrestling family. I went to my first WWE show when I was less than 10, and I remember very little about it. So I don't really count it as my first. Like, yes, I know I was there. I remember being there. I remember someone being chased out of the arena. I don't know if it was like Kevin Nash, or I feel like Kevin Nash was involved. I don't know if he was doing the chasing. I don't know. But like, that's how young I was that I don't really remember what happened or how it happened or what happened at the show. So I don't count my first show until I was in my 20s. When I got to high school, I stopped watching. Like, I was, but I have a reason. It wasn't just that, like, oh, I just thought I was too cool for it. It was like I was in all AP classes, advanced placement classes. I was in all AP classes to the point where when I tried to select regular classes, my principal laughed at me. Like, I remember very clearly, I was filling out my class schedule, and she was like, Clarissa, you can put whatever you want on there. I'm still going to put you in the AP versions. I graduated in the top 5 of both my middle school and high school classes. So, like, she's smart, even though she's forgetful as shit now. That's probably why. When I got to high school, I was just completely swamped. I had dance practices, I had high school girl things to do. You know, I was worried about little boys, not that much though, like really like that much. I was going out with my friends. Like, I was hardly home when I was in high school because I was with my best friend so much. So I didn't get to watch wrestling. So I probably stopped 2007, 2008 ish, probably somewhere in that. And I like to tell people that's probably why I didn't get the Punk hype, because I wasn't watching during the times where Punk was reigning supreme, where he was that guy. So, like, Punk, Daniel Bryan, I'm so sorry to them, men. I like Punk now, though. Tony, don't beat my ass. Anyway, so I didn't watch because I was doing all these other things. I started college in 2010, and one day I was home from college. I don't remember what break I was on or if I was just at home for a weekend. I was home from college, and my mom was watching WWE. And I, like, when I tell y'all, I remember this vividly, vividly. I walked, I was walking in her room to get something. I walked into her room, walked past the TV, and I saw someone out the corner of my eye. I walked backwards, stopped in front of the TV, and was like, "Who is that?" And my mama, she knows me so well. She immediately goes, "That's Roman Reigns." And I was like, "Okay, who are these other guys that he's with?" And she was like, "Oh, that's Seth Rollins, that's Dean Ambrose, they're the Shield." And I was like, "Uh-huh," as I'm like sitting at the foot of her bed, completely tuned into what these three people were doing. And they were battling with Evolution, which one thing you should know about me is I am a huge Triple H, Randy Orton girl. Batista's good. Don't get me wrong. Batista is great. I love Batista, but like, I love Triple H. He was always my guy growing up. If you haven't seen, I have a whole Triple H denim leather jacket thing. So while I wasn't watching in 2007, I did watch enough in '09 to catch '09 Orton. Let's just be very clear about that. I saw all of that madness live because he was fighting Triple H, who was my GOAT, and Stephanie McMahon was involved. So like those, I love those two. So I saw that, but only like sparingly. A lot of the stuff I ended up going back and watching years later. But I was aware of who '09 Orton was. So I'm sitting there watching The Shield and Evolution. And I was like, yo, I'm here again. Like, okay. And it sucks because right after that, they broke up. I think I got, what was it, that TLC? PLE, or it was pay per view back then. That was like the only show I got to watch of the Shield during their actual run before they broke up. And I remember because I was telling my mama I wanted a Shield shirt. And I finally got her to say yes. And I was going to order it after that Raw, and they broke up. And I was like, oh, well. And so a lot of times when I say Roman Reigns got me back into wrestling, a lot of people think I mean it in a sense of, oh, I'm only watching because of the way Roman looks. I will not lie that is what caught my attention first. I'm not, I'm human, okay? I am human. However, it was everything about Roman that pulled me back in. He had the looks. I will not lie and say he had the promo skills. You will not hear me say that shit because look, suffering succotash was a crime, okay? It was a crime. We all know about it. Let's just not talk about it, right? Right. He had the charisma, he had the personality. I love the big dog personally. I've loved every era of Roman. I don't care what y'all say. The big dog was cool as fuck, and y'all did not appreciate it enough. I said what I said. But he was just something that I could grab onto. He was someone that I liked as much as I liked Triple H and Jeff Hardy way back when. Randy Orton and Triple H were like a whole different breed for me, and I hadn't found somebody in the times like I would see my mama watching it and I would pay attention. I would have a vague idea of what was going on, but I wasn't watching myself, right? And so I didn't find anyone that I connected with again until I found Roman. I will say, and I hope VO doesn't look at me differently after this, I loved Seth off rip also. And I was iffy on Dean, but I eventually was like, you know what, he's all right. I'm not like full on fan of his, but like, eh. But that's fully because of the way they booked him afterwards, and they did. The lunatic friend should have been more, but I digress. I would watch way more, over the next few years. And when the WWE network came around, I immediately subscribed. And so with the WWE network, which I really hate we got rid of, I was able to go back and I rewatched the Shield era, and it made me love them even more. But they're broken up, but then they're back together. And then Dean is gone. And shouts to Mox for being exactly who he is over in AEW and excelling the way he is. But it was definitely a time for me. And if not for Roman, you probably wouldn't see me. Like, if not for Roman, I would not have gotten back into wrestling because or it may have taken me a while to come back. I don't know. But like, Roman is my guy. Triple H was my guy. Jeff Hardy was my backup. Roman is my guy. Like, there is not a single person on that roster, male, that I love more than Roman Reigns. My next two favorites would be Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair. Just so we're clear. And then Damian Priest, which y'all know I love me some Damian. Anyway, I actually ended up stopping again during COVID, but that was just because I didn't like the Thunderdome. Like, I missed the live audience. I missed the fans. Like, eh. And I don't know, I can't remember if we had another name before we were in the Thunderdome or if they were just in the PC or wherever they shoot NXT, but I just wasn't feeling it without the crowd. It's just so, it was so, I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words, but I'm so grateful that Edge got to return at a Rumble full of people. And I hate that those superstars who were involved in WrestleMania that year did not get their actual WrestleMania moments they deserved. But I wasn't really feeling the Thunderdome thing. Like it wasn't for me. And then Roman returned. I wasn't even watching the SummerSlam Roman return. I remember one of my friends, one of my Facebook friends, and I'll get to that part in a second. One of my Facebook friends messaged me and was like, "You see your boy back?" And I was like, "Excuse you?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, Roman Reigns just came back. You didn't see that?" And I immediately was typing my fingers off trying to find the clip of his return to see him come back and destroy Bray and Braun. And I think he said something along the lines of like, "You're not a monster unless I'm around or unless I," something like that. He basically told Braun he couldn't be a monster without Roman. And ever since Roman returned that summer at that SummerSlam, I have been hooked ever since Roman came back, especially in this tribal chief era, which I don't really count the first part as tribal chief era, even though it was the beginning of the tribal chief. Ever since Roman came back, I have been locked in. There has been no breaks. I have been paying attention to what's happening. I found new favorites. Because of that I found out how much I absolutely adore Bianca Belair, how much I love Rhea Ripley. I've always loved Naomi and the Usos, but like all of these new people had popped up and I didn't know who they were. Like who are these people? Because obviously between 2016 and 2020, I would take breaks on and off, but like let's be real, I was really only paying attention to Roman in some of those years. I'm so sorry. But I didn't know who Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley was. And that's not because I didn't watch WWE television. It's because I did not watch NXT. Even now, I don't watch NXT as often as I should because one of the biggest things that I noticed is people would complain about the booking of their favorite person on NXT versus WWE, or I guess I should say NXT versus the main roster. And this was back when it was black and gold NXT. So like the Asukas, the Beckys, the Charlottes, the Sashas. I had heard about the Four Horsewomen, but I hadn't seen the Four Horsewomen in action until they were on the main roster because I thought it was best for me to have an opinion of them with a clean slate. I don't have any preconceived notions from what they've done. I don't expect anything from what they've done in the past. What I get here on the main roster is how I judge them, is how I fall in love with them. And it did happen because I didn't like Charlotte Flair at first. I thought she was just riding off the coattails of her father. Charlotte Flair is absolutely one of the best female athletes in the WWE, and you are lying if you say she's not. You're lying. That's not up for discussion. You can talk about whatever else, but just admit that that girl can go. All right, all right. We have lost the plot, low key. Low key, this has been chaotic. I'm so sorry, but um, I came back into wrestling, saw all these new people, and I found my love again. I've been a part of the IWC for many, many years, but I started over on Facebook. I was a part of a Facebook group called Smart Life. If you've ever heard of it, you may not. I don't know. I do know they're still around. I'm just not as active as I used to be. But those guys were my wrestling family. And I say guys because let's say it was a group of like 150 people. There was like 10 of us girls, if that. Like really active women, there was like five. There was like five. And I was very close to every single one of them, male and females. Like we were really a tight knit community. I still talk to some of them to this day. Like they're like family to me. And so I came from the IWC on Facebook where we still had, don't get me wrong, we still had the men that do that weird thing with women, but we had men who were protective, who would help educate you, who didn't mind you asking a dumb question and would explain shit to you. Um, they would go off on you for disrespecting me before I did, but please let it be known I was a bit of a troll back then. So if you know me from that, I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, I love those guys to this day. Like I said, I talk to some of them. To the world of TikTok, which is not as nice. The IWC is a very dark place if you don't know, so it can get really crazy around these parts. But yeah, over time, I've just gotten so deep into my love for wrestling. I went to my first TNA show last year. I did my first meet and greet last year. I started a wrestling podcast with some of my new wrestling friends that I met last year. It's really been just a great, eventful, fun time getting to fall back in love with something that I've always loved, but on a deeper level. On a deeper level. Like, this is just wrestling has reached such great heights. And while I will not only attribute that to Roman, the bloodline story kind of took the fuck off. Like, even Triple H and Paul Heyman have said that Roman Reigns in the Tribal Chief era changed the game. Where he's going next, I don't know, but I will have a video out on that soon. But yeah, that is my wrestling story of how I got into wrestling. Some random facts. Like I said, if you got Roman, the Usos, Naomi, Bianca, Charlotte, Rhea, Damian, if any of those are your favorite, you got a friend in me. Starting to love CM Punk a whole lot more. I do really love Seth Rollins. I enjoy Drew McIntyre. I mean, I could go on forever. So if there's like any other random wrestling facts you love to know about me, drop me a comment down below and we'll make another one of these. I do have like one wrestling hot take that I'm saving for if I ever do a like hot takes thing. But yeah, like that's really all I have. I hope this video wasn't too short, but like I said, if there's anything else you'd like to know, like favorite matches, favorite factions, or favorite POE or anything like that, let me know down below in the comments and I will do another one of these. I just think it's a great way for y'all to get to know more about me, who I am, and why I love this thing called WWE. So until next time, bye guys.